Welcome back, everybody, to another round here at the 2017 Portland, Oregon Regional Championships. I'm still Dwee.
I'm Zach. What's up?
You're still Zach?
I'm still Zach.
Yeah,
Still good.
you're still Zach.
You're still Dewey?
I'm still Dwee. I'm still here.
All right.
Barely hanging on. Lots of coffee in my system. But, hey, guess what? I'm hyped for another round. This is what, round 5?
5, yeah.
This is round 5?
That was a long gap.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when the set just goes by so fast.
Yeah.
You know, time kind of flies. It's all a blur. It's like an extreme speed.
Yeah.
Dude, you must be sick of me right now.
Hey, at least I was keeping up last round.
Anyways, we got a good matchup between you guys, or for you guys right now between two players from the Seattle area, Conan Thompson versus Scott Iwafuchi, right?
Yeah. They apparently want to go to rival high schools.
And now they're battling it out on the field. Rivals in high schools, rivals here and right now. Both players undefeated. Both of them 4-0. Getting ready to go into team preview now. Scott on the bottom will be running Tapu Lele, Porygon 2, Marowak, Celesteela, Gigalith, and Garchomp. Conan on the other side running Tapu Koko, Garchomp, Celesteela, Mimikyu, Gigalith, and Gyarados.
Yeah, the Gyarados is an interesting twist. We haven't seen one of those today yet. I guess it adds something. It's kind of interesting that the Marowak is on the other side of the field. Usually, Marowak Gyarados has been a combination you've seen a lot this year, but Gyarados here looks pretty okay. It does hit two things super effectively with Water type move. It has Taunt. It gets access to Dragon Dance if you want to go set up. You got Thunder Wave if you really want to go that route. It does some pretty cool things. Getting Intimidate Cycle gives you an option other than Arcanine, and it actually beats Arcanine. So it's kind of interesting. It's a
replacement for Arcanine that beats Arcanine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people talk about Tapu Fini not being able to really beat Arcanine because it's Snarl. This thing actually beats Arcanine. This thing will it won't outspeed it, but it'll a Waterfall threatens it a little bit more. Can't get snarled. You have to run Will-O-Wisp for it. And it intimidates. So
I actually really enjoy the increase in Gyarados usage. Gyarados is a really cool Pokemon. It's fairly bulky, and it can also set up with the Dragon Dance, so that's what I really like about it.
Yeah.
We're ready to get underway here. Round 5 between Scott Iwafuchi versus Conan Thompson. Conan leading with the Garchomp and the Tapu Koko. On the other side, Scott leading with the Tapu Lele and the Porygon 2. Tapu Lele is going to go ahead and get off the Psychic terrain as Porygon 2 downloads an attack boost, but of course people are running that physical Porygon 2 now.
Yeah,
maybe that's going to pay off.
Yeah, return's been a big thing. But I don't know. It really depends on the moveset. Sometimes there's return, sometimes there's Thunderbolt, sometimes there's Toxic. It really depends.
Bolt Beam.
Yeah.
Bolt Beam's a good combo too.
Yeah, those that fourth slot on Porygon's always interesting. I don't know if it'll play a role here because nothing really to Toxic. Maybe the Gyarados, but
But why not just Thunderbolt it?
Exactly. And if he has Thunderbolt here, it's a good thing here. Is Koko Tapu Lele goes up to protect.
Yeah, Tapu Lele not going to want to get hit at all. Tapu Koko goes for a Sky Drop onto that Porygon 2, and I think we're going to see a Swords Dance from this Garchomp. Yep, there we go. All right. That Sky Drop Swords Dance combo that you and I actually had a conversation off camera about.
Yeah.
And now this Garchomp's ready to do some work.
Yeah, this thing, all you have to do is drop it here. Tectonic Rage, Porygon 2 is not a problem anymore. Lele still can probably knock out the Tapu Koko, but the Sky Drop there, wow. I mean, it just puts you in such good position. If you don't lead for it, you don't prepare for it, you will lose a Pokemon, and you will have a +2 Garchomp staring you down. Next to a Tapu Koko, which there aren't many things in the game that are going to stop both of them. This really imposing.
Yeah, and Tapu Koko now going to release Porygon 2 from that Sky Drop. Going to do a little bit of damage, but the damage, I think... Oh, Tapu Lele outspeeding that Garchomp, holding that Choice Scarf. Going to go for a Moonblast here on that Garchomp. Picks up the one-hit KO.
Wow. Well, that's one way to stop it. You need to outspeed it.
Not even Choice Scarf.
Wow.
It's carrying a Life Orb. That's a very slow Garchomp right there.
Huh. Well, it's one way to catch me off guard.
That caught us off guard.
Yeah.
We thought that was a Scarf.
Well, I guess Conan's running really slow, bulky Garchomp?
Maybe slightly slower, and maybe this is a really fast, hey, let's do this type of Tapu Lele.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I'm at a loss for words. I don't think have we seen a slow Garchomp today?
I don't know. I actually don't know.
Yeah, but either way, that's a huge advantage for Scott. Doesn't have to set up Trick Room. Can just Moonblast away the Garchomp.
I wonder if Scott knew that.
Yeah, like I don't know if they worked. I mean, maybe they work together. It's very interesting.
But that's information that Conan's going to have to take going on in the rest of the set. Scott's Tapu Lele is going to outspeed that Garchomp. He can't go for that Sky Drop Sword Stance.
No, and that's unfortunate for him, but for Scott, wow, he has a huge advantage. That was a combination that could have set him up. I mean, he has Celesteela as maybe the only thing. I mean, what can he drop in there? What can you drop in to stop that? I mean, nothing. Scott doesn't have anything else that stops that Garchomp. So if that's a Jelly Garchomp, I think Scott instantly loses that game.
Yeah, well, yeah, for sure. Gyarados now going to come in, going to go for the Intimidate onto the Porygon 2 and the Tapu Lele. Not going to matter too much as Tapu Koko, revealing that it has Nature's Madness, going to hit this Tapu Lele, doing 50% at that point as Tapu Lele gets to go for a taunt. Going to try to prevent this Gyarados from being able to set up with a Dragon Dance, which Gyarados loves to do. But instead, Gyarados goes for the Waterfall, going to target down this Tapu Lele that was so problematic earlier and pick up the KO. Now Porygon 2 gets to move, though. And what is Porygon 2 going to go for? A Thunderbolt.
That should knock right out.
That should be a KO right there. No! Trained to survive that Thunderbolt from a Porygon 2. All right.
Probably see a Gigalith come in here.
Yeah, you think?
Oh, okay.
Nope, it's a Celesteela. Interesting to send that Celesteela into that Tapu, to face off against that Tapu Koko.
Yeah, it's not sure how that one's going to work out, but he did taunt the Gyarados, which means the Gyarados can't taunt anything else, which is the fast taunt Lele seems to be the really good check here for basically everything Conan has. I think Scott's got to rely on that for the rest of the set. Conan's information there is good if he didn't know that before, but regardless, that's a huge tool for him. It can do a lot of damage. Conan only has one thing that resists Psychic, which is a Celesteela. He does have a Marowak for that, so should be interesting. He didn't even bring the Celesteela, so I don't know what he was planning to do about that Lele, other than maybe Garchomp, which clearly wasn't the answer.
Tapu Koko now going for the Volt Switch, going to target down that Celesteela, doing a good amount of damage, not even 50% though, as Tapu Koko now gets a switch back into that Gyarados. Go for another Intimidate onto the Celesteela here, maybe try to weaken the amount of damage that Heavy Slam is going to do, but if that Celesteela did target down that Gyarados, that could be a KO right there. As we do see the Intimidate. You're right, Gigalith does come in, except on the other side.
Yeah, that was the wrong side.
Ooh, Celesteela revealing that it has Flash Cannon right now, going to hit this Gigalith, but thanks to that Sand Stream, going to boost that special defense, going to make it survive, as Porygon 2 uses his turn to just recover, even though it's already at pretty full health, probably expecting to take some heavy damage from that Tapu Koko, maybe a Nature's Madness.
Yeah, maybe potentially that. One thing to watch out for Gyarados.
Oh!
Whoa, wow, I didn't
All
know
right.
go down. I looked like it had a lot more health than that.
You know, numbers, man, numbers,
Yeah.
right?
I don't know, it looked like I'd take one more turn. But
well, unfortunately, not sure if Conan was able to calculate that. Maybe he just wanted to sacrifice that Gyarados, and maybe he thinks his endgame is here with the Tapu Koko and the Gigalith. As we do see the Electric Train come up, which will be able to pick up the KO on the Celesteela.
Yeah, should help him out here. He did lose. What did he? Was it Lele that fainted there?
Lele, yeah, Lele fainted.
Lele fainted, so he won't be able to switch the terrain. I'm not sure if that's a Z-move Gigalith. If that is, that could be in his favor. But
Marowak's going to switch in, going to try to take away the attack. All right, good call right there, Marowak. Oh, all right, we see the Lightning Rod. All right, good call right there from Scott to switch in that Marowak, draw away the Lightning type attack, thanks to the immunity.
Boost that every useful special attack.
Yep, and we see Celesteela now going for a Giga Drain here, picks up the KO on that Gigalith, and not only that, heals it back up to hopefully try to push it away from electric type attack range, but it doesn't matter. Marowak's out on the field.
Yeah.
Well, and it gets a Beast Boost. Dude, this Celesteela is doing work.
Wow. And the Giga Drain on the Gigalith takes it right out.
Yeah. This is one thing that we actually mentioned in previous streams. You know, there's actually a rise in usage in this Celesteela set that has an Assault Vest and a lot of coverage moves. So this Celesteela not doing typical Celesteela things, it's just trying to get coverage.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting, and I mean, it does make sense in that with his team having a fast Tapu Lele, given that he probably needs to do damage to Garchomp, that makes a lot of sense, and maybe that has a hidden power ice on it too.
Yeah, that's possible.
Especially with Beast Boost.
Yeah, we've seen. Did you actually pick up what the Beast Boost boosted? Was a special attack?
Yeah.
Yep. So that's probably going to be more of a coverage type Celesteela, which is pretty cool. It actually has a lot of coverage. Like, man, what have we seen? We've seen. It also gets access to Air Slash. It gets access to We've seen Giga Drain, Flash Cannon, Flamethrower.
Yeah.
It hits pretty much everything.
Yeah, it does. It can do whatever you really want it to. It's interesting. And that was the start of the year. I kind of thought, well, looking at it, maybe it won't be that, good because it doesn't have very strong special attack. But Beast Boost does help it, and its defenses are really good, so it can sustain long enough to, do enough damage output to justify using that. So I can kind of see where he's coming from here. The Assault Vest probably is the only way you can do that, though.
Who needs Leech Seed when you got Giga Drain?
Yeah, exactly. Especially when you got a Gigalith that's giving it to you. Like giving you the free Giga Drain. I mean, it seems all right because it still gives you a recovery option. I want to see him play a little more. I hope he brings it this game, too.
Going into Game 2 now, Conan's got to make some adjustments. Turn 2 was the turning point for that game when he tried to set up that Garchomp, but it didn't work.
Yeah, I actually don't like. If he didn't have Skydrop, Swords Dance, and Garchomp, I'm not sure he'd be bringing Garchomp to this. It does help, but it's also, the Lele that can OHKO it. You have the Porygon that can OHKO it. You have Celesteela that's going to wall it off. You have his own Garchomp. You've only got Marowak and only the Marowak and the Gigalith are things he wants to bring it against, and he can't even KO Gigalith with it unless he Z moves. So, I'm not 100% sure that's something he wants to bring again, especially knowing that the Moonblast there can KO it. It's may not be as much of a resource as one of his other Pokemon like Mimikyu.
For all we know, it could have been a speed tie as well. Well, I don't know how these Pokemon are trained.
Yeah, could be a speed tie.
Yeah. So now, going into Game 2, Tapu Koko and Celesteela leads for Conan as if it's not broken, why change it? Tapu Lele and Porygon 2 leads out for Scott. And you're changing it up completely for Conan's side.
Yeah, I agree with the Celesteela. Definitely something he should have brought last game to offset the Lele, which is obviously a big threat to his team. The only thing that resists Psychic is mentioned. It does damage to the Lele, and I can't argue with that choice. But the question is, what did he not bring? What did he not bring this time in place of the Celesteela's in place of something else? So maybe it's the Garchomp that he realized wasn't good enough. Maybe it's something else.
Maybe it's the Gyarados.
Could be the Gyarados. The Gyarados didn't do a whole lot. All it did was Waterfall. So.
Yeah, I mean, provides Intimidate support, but at the same time, he got knocked out really easily. We have Tapu Lele now switching out, going to go straight into Marowak here, going to try to draw away any sort of electric type attack. But instead, Tapu Koko over on Conan's side targets down that Porygon 2 with a Nature's Madness, bringing it down to 50% of its health. As the Celesteela over on Conan's side now goes for a Flash Cannon in that Porygon 2, but Porygon 2 so bulky, hangs on. Ooh. Does get a special defense drop, though, which makes it not be able to stay on the field as long. And now Porygon 2 goes for an Ice Beam onto that Tapu Koko, doing a fair amount of damage, but at the same time, this Marowak now threatens the Celesteela.
Yeah, and Marowak threatens the Celesteela. He has to pretty much switch Porygon out if he wants to save it. Koko might not be able to KO it, but Celesteela definitely can with a Flash Cannon after that special defense drop. This is a case where Marowak can pretty much do what it wants. He has to bring Gyarados here, or at least Gigalith, to neutralize it. Neither one of those Pokemon are doing anything.
Yeah, we do see Porygon 2 retreat. You're right, Zach. Going to try to save that, and instead we see Celesteela come in. Very safe switch right there as Tapu Koko goes for a Sky Drop onto that Marowak, allowing Celesteela to stay onto the field for a little bit longer as Celesteela goes for a Flash Cannon from Conan's side, targeting down the Celesteela, which was the Porygon 2, over on Scott's side. Not very effective damage, but, Marowak doesn't get a move, and Celesteela stays on the field for one more turn.
Yeah, pretty good play by Conan, but at the same time, now Tapu Koko goes down if Scott wants it to. He can kind of delete the Koko. Not sure if that's in his favor, considering Marowak is a huge thing for him right now. Celesteela, you may see that switch into a Gigalith or a Gyarados, but he also has a Celesteela on the field now in position to be able to take advantage of that switch. So he can Giga Drain, he can Flash Cannon. He has options on his side to deal with Celesteela, and if he wants to just let Koko sit there and be, just exist in Nature's Madness things until they get to the point, kind of he has to weigh what he has, can do here.
Scott now retreating the Celesteela, going to switch out, going to go into Tapu Lele. Possibly dangerous. Maybe Conan saw that and decided to go for Flash Cannon into that slot. As Marowak gets released from the Sky Drop, not much damage done at all. As Celesteela now goes for a Flamethrower into that Tapu Lele, trying to target down that former Celesteela with super effective damage, but Marowak now goes for a Shadow Bone, kind of worried that Celesteela would protect, and Tapu Koko now gets knocked out.
Wow. So I guess he decided that the Nature's Madness would probably be too much for him. He didn't want to deal with Sky Drop. Maybe there's a Garchomp in the back. I don't know. I don't know what the thought process was, but I think it's a fair play. It's something that you worry about the team getting 50%, 50%, 50%. Everything gets in range now. Now Celesteela with its Flamethrower can chip you down. it might have wore him down too fast, and I think he might have weighed that was not worth the risk. And then again, he's in position to deal with the Gigalith if he wants to.
Yep, Gigalith comes in, a very slow Pokemon. Going to bring the Sandstorm with it, ability that it picked up in between generations, and of course that helps it a lot because it gets a special defense boost. That's one of the reasons why Tyranitar back in the day was so great, because it got a special defense boost right off of the bat, and it has sky-high physical defense.
Yeah, and it's nice here because it might be able to take 2 attacks. I'm not 100% sure, but Scott probably is doubling something and see what protects.
Yeah, Gigalith not going to want to get knocked out just yet, going to protect itself. Trying to stay on the field as long as possible as the Psychic does hit that Gigalith, but does Scott double into it as Celesteela goes for a Flash Cannon, hitting that Tapu Lele. Going to be able to pick up the KO, kind of giving Garchomp safe passage if it is still in the back, because we haven't seen this 4th Pokemon just yet, have we?
If that's a defense boost, that's going to be huge.
A special attack boost, so that's actually a similar... oh, no, it goes for a Shadow Bone into that Gigalith slot, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, I mean, he had to double something there. Or either double something or... definitely go after the Celesteela. He wanted to make sure he didn't get the rock slide there. That was a turn that pretty much, swung the game one way or another. I think Scott still has a chance at this one, though. If he can manage to Flare Blitz the Celesteela or protect the Marowak or just double into the Gigalith here, he has to make a call. He has to make a read here, and whatever read he makes, I don't know if Conan can back it up with whatever's in back. We still don't know that Pokemon.
We still don't know Conan's last Pokemon. If it's you have to. The Celesteela isn't problematic right now.
Yeah.
The Gigalith is the issue, because that Gigalith can do massive amounts of damage to that Marowak, and I feel like Marowak might be the Pokemon that Scott needs to maintain.
Yeah, I agree, and I think at this point you have to down the Gigalith. If it switches out, it's just protected, so basically you Shadow Bone and Flash Cannon it, and if it switches into Gyarados, I guess you kind of just, nod your head and that's the game.
Acknowledge it, yeah.
If not, then Conan's part. I don't know why he protected the Celesteela.
Yep, Celesteela over on Conan's side protects as the Flash Cannon from Celesteela on Scott's side connects onto that Gigalith, doing a good amount of damage. But again, thanks to that special defense boost from that sand, Marowak goes for a Shadow Bone into that Gigalith right now. Is it going to be enough to pick up the KO? It is. So Marowak, doing work.
I mean, he had to make that play. I don't know why Conan didn't attack with the Celesteela. He had every reason to. There was every reason for Scott to double that slot, and must be a Garchomp in the back.
Yeah, and we know it has Swords Dance. I assume it has Earthquake, but if it has Fire Fang, it could be a situation like we saw in round 2.
Could.
But this Celesteela over right now on Scott's side doesn't have any sort of defense boost, so that's one thing that Conan has going for himself.
Yeah, he does, and I guess he does also have going for him is that his Garchomp is going to beat the Marowak out of the way. The main problem is that the Celesteela has to deal with Celesteela, which, I mean, we've seen happen so many times in the past. If it has HP Ice, I don't think it KOs the Garchomp, but it gives him a shot.
Needs to find a way to knock out this Garchomp.
Yeah, he needs to find a way to get the Garchomp out, but that Celesteela, if it has it does have Flamethrower, we saw, so I think Conan probably has this one in the bag.
Marowak now protecting, not wanting to get knocked out just yet. Could still get targeted down with a Tectonic Rage, but we do see Garchomp go for an Earthquake instead. This allows Conan Celesteela to be able to go for a Flamethrower onto Scott's. Yep, there we go. We see the Flamethrower going to connect onto Scott's Celesteela. Going to do a fair amount of damage. Almost picks up the KO, but, Scott's barely hangs on. Now going to try to connect with a Flash Cannon onto the slot here, but that's not going to be enough to pick up the KO at all.
Nope,
that should do it.
That'll do it. Yep, that's the game. And I also learned that Scott's Celesteela is slower than Conan's. Another speed point to note heading into Game 3. It should make for an interesting match. I think they've figured out what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are. Scott just needs to preserve that Lele a little bit more. He was a little reckless with it, losing at the Flash Cannon that turn. He would have been able to call that Gigalith protect and make that was a turning point of the game. I think if Scott calls that turn correctly, he wins the game. Conan called that turn correctly, so he won the game. Heading into Game 3, I think each player's position is to not get back into that spot, but that 50-50 kind of it really ended up deciding the game.
Great adjustment right there from Conan to decide to bring that Celesteela, like you mentioned, coming straight up into the leads. We see the Flash Cannon from Conan's side just going to be able to pick up the KO. Celesteela's going to get another boost, another special attack boost. So that's why that Flamethrower did so much.
Yeah.
Great adjustments from Conan's side, and now Scott has to go back to the drawing board and try to figure out how he's going to maintain that Tapu Lele. We know that Tapu Lele is faster or it's speed tied with that Garchomp. So
there's a Porygon.
Well, there's a Porygon too. There's a Porygon too in the back, but it's gonna get knocked out.
I forgot all about the Porygon.
Oh, I didn't. I just knew it was gonna get knocked out.
Yeah. There's nothing really here to do.
Yeah. So we see Scott already click the forfeit button, and now Game 3 between Conan and Scott, rival high schools.
Local rivals across town.
Two local players from the Seattle area. Conan, of course, accomplished player.
Yep.
I feel like everybody just knows Conan.
Yeah, everybody knows Conan.
Yeah, he's been on streams, like official streams. He's always a heavy favorite to win any regional. I actually asked Scott before the tournament, hey, man, what are your accomplishments? He's like, I got none.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right.
Yeah, he's come to, I host PCs in the area. He's come to 2 of those. He's performed pretty well at both. I think he caught one of them and then had to leave early.
Oh,
so
really?
That probably deleted his accomplishment there. But he seems to know what he's doing. It's like in this game, he hasn't. He's made very good plays. There's like a couple reads he hasn't made, but I don't think they've been bad plays. They've been. He looks like he's putting up a fight against Conan, which is saying a lot. Conan's a really good player.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, he trained in Japan, right?
Yeah.
That's from what I understand about Conan. He trained in Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's a Japanese citizen, from what I understand. So
he plays in Japanese.
Yeah.
As you can tell.
Yeah. So no, he's like Conan is.
This is a very different team than you'd see in the American metagame coming from Conan's side, right? Like,
yeah,
it just feels like a Japanese team, you know?
Feels different, yeah. Definitely not something we've seen yet. Their metagame is also a lot different. We saw
Gyarados was brought to the forefront because of
Japan.
Shoma. Because of
Japan.
Shoma,
yeah. That was a big one. And another thing they've been using a lot over there recently is Togedemaru, which very interesting shift. There was a top cut that had 4 Togedemaru in it. I can't remember which tournament it was, but
was it the DEX off?
It might have been.
I think it was that one, right?
Yeah, but it was like, wow, it's an interesting trend. It's weird how different regions can have like very different metagames. That's why it's interesting when we see like a California player play a British Columbia player. Even little pockets can have different metagames.
All right, everybody, going into Game 3 now between Conan versus Scott. Porygon 2 and Tapu Lele leads. Same exact thing for Scott. Garchomp and Celesteela leads out for Conan, changing it up every single game. As we do see Porygon 2 now get a download. Going to go ahead and boost the attack stat for that Porygon 2.
Not what he wanted, but, he does outspeed the Garchomp, but, wow, this is a lot of pressure for Scott. But he learned from last game that he has to protect the Lele. So does Conan go for a Swords Dance here?
Oh, no.
No.
Instead goes for a retreat on that Garchomp as Celesteela does stay in. Going to replace the terrain here. Going to go for the electric terrain. But at the same time, you don't want to get that Tapu Lele knocked out. Maybe protecting that Tapu Lele was good. All right, there we go. Scott realizing his mistake in Game 2. Protecting that Tapu Lele, not wanting to get knocked out. As a Flash Cannon goes into that protect, and now this Porygon 2 gets to go for an Ice Beam here. Targeting down that Garchomp slot. Going to do some damage to that former Garchomp, which is now the Tapu Koko.
Yeah, looks like it might be Assault Vest based on the damage. Usually that does like 30% to the Tapu Koko. Did about 20, 15. So that tells him something here. He probably cannot KO with Psychic, and I don't think he wants to begin with. He can get doubled right here. I think Koko is probably going to end up looking for the Marowak switch in here. This is what he did last time. The Tapu Koko and Celesteela were on the field. And that's actually what, here comes probably the Marowak.
Yeah, but you have to watch out for that Nature's Madness, you know? And that actually deletes your option of being able to go for Thunderbolt into that Celesteela boosted by that electric terrain. As we do see another Nature's Madness here, going to target down the Marowak slot.
Did he trick her?
You think he trick her?
Do you think he trick her?
That'd be hype. But instead now, Celesteela goes for a Flash Cannon into that slot, going to not very effective damage it. As Porygon 2 goes for a recover. No!
Oh.
Wrong call right there. Conan reading right past that.
So, I mean, it's not very great, but at the same time, if he gets Trick Room up here, I don't know what Conan has for that. Conan doesn't really have a way to stop Marowak and Trick Room. The Tapu Koko can't damage it enough. If it Flare Blitzes a Celesteela and Porygon just, Ice Beams chips away at the Tapu Koko, what's Conan really to do about it, other than bring in Gigalith, which he didn't bring last game? So if he brings in Garchomp, and he has
He did bring Gigalith last game.
He did bring Oh, that's right. He got doubled, yeah. So, it really depends. Like, the Gigalith is a problem. Like I said, maybe it's why you don't set up Trick Room, but makes for an interesting situation. He has to double the Marowak again, I believe. He can't KO it with a Flash Cannon.
Well, boy, Marowak protects. I think we're seeing a Trick Room, buddy.
Really?
Turn too late, but see, that's the problem with not Trick Rooming. Oh!
You doubled it.
Nature's Madness into that double slot. Oh!
There it is. So now the question is do you attack here and switch and reverse Trick Room right away? And if you're almost wondering for Scott's position, because if Conan's probably switching into Gigalith, right?
Oh, man, I don't know, Zach.
This is a tricky situation.
This is going to be hype if he reverses Trick Room on his own accord.
Yeah, if he knocks out something in the process or comes close.
Well, the Flare Blitz will definitely knock Marowak out. You want to keep that Marowak around to be able to deal with the Celesteal a little bit better.
True, but at the same token, you want to be able to get something out of this turn. If there is a Gigalith switching in, you almost want to Shadow Bone something. The question becomes what does Conan do to counter it? Scott's in a worse position than Conan is, but there's a way out of this, and Conan's got to be a little scared that Scott reads him.
Yeah.
With the correct read, this game swings right here.
Oh, Topico switches out. Is that the Gigalith? I think that's a Gigalith. Yep, there's a Gigalith. Zach, dude, are you
if he
being psychic right now?
If he Shadow Bones the Gigalith, we are in for... Oh, but the sand damage might knock him out of into Flash Cannon range.
We'll see. Celesteal now protecting itself. Oh boy, what's going to happen here? Marowak going to go for a Flare Blitz into that Protect, unfortunately. But Porygon 2 does get to move here. Porygon 2 goes for an Ice Beam into what was that Tapu Koko, hitting that Gigalith for not much damage. Thanks, Sandstream, for boosting that Gigalith special defenses.
Yeah, that helps. 37 times. Yeah, he's going to be really close. He will faint after this turn after a Flash Cannon, but Gigalith, obviously right in front of him. Imposing Rock Slide.
Even then, just a Stone Edge, a Continental Crush, just make sure that Marowak gets knocked out.
Yeah, potentially could Continental Crush it just in case it protects.
If it has Continental Crush, I mean, we don't know.
You mean you can always or switch to Marowak or protect it.
All right, Marowak going to switch out now. Going to go into Garchomp safe. Gigalith doesn't really have much that can touch that, as we do see the Rock Slide. Gigalith goes for the Rock Slide, not very effective on Garchomp. Chip damage on that Porygon 2. Is it going to flinch? No, Porygon 2 gets the move. Goes for a Thunderbolt. Oh, Wakan Berry.
Wow.
Going to weaken the damage of that Thunderbolt. That's not an item that we see often on Celesteal at all.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's very uncommon.
But I respect it.
Yeah, it's an interesting move. No special. Oh, there's special defense drop. That's a big one.
Yeah, but at the same time, like that Gigalith can, if it has the Continental Crush, can go for Continental Crush. But hey, guess what? That electric terrain disappeared. That means that this Porygon 2 will not be able to pick up that KO on Celesteal most likely.
No, it won't. And I don't think it would have anyway, but it would have come really close. It would have put the Celesteal in a compromising position. 2 turns of Trick Room left. Now you got to wonder, does the Gigalith go for an attack here, or does he switch? Does he protect? It's kind of a tricky situation. There's still 4 Pokemon on each side of the field. Porygon 2 special defense down.
All right, Gigalith protecting here. Not going to want to get knocked out just yet. Maybe scared of what Garchomp can throw at it. Porygon 2 uses his turn to recover. Smart move right there from Scott to just boost up that Porygon 2, but it does have a special defense drop that can... Oh, Flash Cannon goes into that Garchomp instead. So Porygon 2 essentially getting a free retreat as Garchomp uses a Sword Stance right here. Oh, boy. All right, so Garchomp on Scott's side can now protect his own Trick Room.
Yes, he can. And Porygon is in a position to actually do damage this turn if he wants to still attack. Because that Gigalith is not going to be able to kill the Garchomp. If he thinks he's going to get in Koko for free, Scott could actually go for an attack here.
Yeah.
He has no reason not to attack the Gigalith with a Z move here, unless he suspects that the Celesteal is going to attack the Garchomp.
Oh, no, yeah, that's still safe. Protect that Garchomp. Make sure that it's not going to get knocked out.
Yeah.
And you get at least one turn of Sword Stance Garchomp up.
Yeah, and it was his last turn of Trick Room. He was.
Oh!
No,
Oh!
Wow.
Okay.
Where did that come from?
Japan.
Sped over here from Japan.
What a setup right there from Conan to... Oh, boy.
Wow. Does it actually knock out the Garchomp from here? I didn't catch the last damage roll on it, but it'll come really close, and if it doesn't, I mean... Now the Gigalith can...
Are you at a loss for words, too?
I'm at a loss for words.
Yeah.
I don't know what you do here.
Yeah, well, Celesteal now goes for the Flash Cannon. Is it enough to pick up the KO on Garchomp? Yes, it is.
Oh, my goodness.
Huge knockout right there, and such a great setup right there from Celesteal. If only he went for an attack that turn where he set up the Automatize. Porygon 2 now gets to go for a Thunderbolt. Going to hit the Celesteal, but it's a bit too late. Not very super effective damage as Gigalith goes for a Rock Slide here onto this Porygon 2. No. All right, well...
And all the Autotomize was like, I came out of nowhere. And it's probably going to win him the game. If he...
And it got a Beast Boost. It got a special attack boost.
Yeah. I think if... Wow, that's something else. At this point, I think he has to freeze the Gigalith. Or at least...
Wow, hey, it's all right. You're at a loss for words.
Yeah, I don't have much for it. He can knock out the Celesteal here, but It's at a beast boost, and
well, you got to pick what you want to get knocked out.
Yeah, I mean,
Porygon 2 can easily get targeted. Tapu Lele can also get targeted too.
he might as well just target the Porygon here, knock it out, and finish off with Coco.
Gigalith now switching out, going to switch into Tapu Koko. Conan just proving why he's probably one of America's best players. Celesteal now goes for a Flash Cannon, gets to pick which Pokemon gets knocked out. Goes for the Porygon 2 with a special defense drop from earlier and a special attack boost. That's definitely going to KO that Porygon 2. Wow. All right, and another Beast Boost, and that's going to outspeed the Tapu Lele and probably just pick up a KO.
But does he Psychic the Celesteela as a knockout?
Yes. Yeah, all right. Okay.
So it's not...
A little bit damage mitigated. Damage mitigated.
So there's a Marowak in back, correct?
The Marowak is already heavily damaged, though.
Yeah, it's down to 40-something HP, or 37.
47 or something like that, but Garchomp comes in.
But remember, he is faster than the Garchomp.
Yeah.
So
what a game!
Well, yeah, this is incredible. So I think actually Scott might win this. If he Moonblasts the Garchomp, outspeeds it, and he can just KO the Coco, I think Scott has this game. Oh, he has something in back, though.
He has a Gigalith in back.
Oh, my goodness. What a game this has been.
What?
Yeah, I don't know.
So now it comes down to what Conan's going to do. He's not out of the woods just yet. He needs to preserve the correct Pokemon correctly. Marowak now protects. Not going to want to take damage this turn. Going to save it. Oh. Okay. All right. Tectonic Rage right through the Marowak.
Oh, yep.
All right, yep. Saving that Tectonic Rage for later on in the game. Smart move right there from Conan.
Yeah, for sure.
It's actually one of the debates that we've had before about how good Z moves are being able to connect through Protect.
Yes.
And this is one of the reasons why, it kind of secures the fact that you can do this.
Yes. And if it doesn't KO here, the Sandwell took it out. That's it.
Took it out clean with a critical hit.
Wow.
Doesn't even matter.
Yeah, it wouldn't make a difference.
Doesn't even matter. And now
kind of slipped my mind that it could happen.
Yeah,
it's like,
me too. Oh, well, I'm still shocked from the Automatize.
Yeah, that
Automize?
Autotomize.
I believe that's Automatize.
Traumatized.
You are traumatized by that. Wow. Conan pulling this out.
Yeah, that was crazy. It's the Garchomp. I mean, you might as well get free damage while you have it, right?
Yeah, Garchomp protects. Well, that would have just been a KO'd. What's it called? That would have just been a KO'd Garchomp if it came down like that.
Yeah.
Yep. As Tapu Lele now goes for the Moonblast.
On the Coco.
Onto the Tapu Koko. Is that enough to pick up the KO? Nope. You're right. Probably Assault Vest from the amount of damage that it did.
Yeah.
So
it's still over.
Yeah.
But what a game.
Conan Thompson taking it. Dude. Traumatize Celesteal. New meta.
Yeah. I think that's the
that's the play of probably the tournament.
You go on Showdown later, you'll probably see some of that.
Yeah. Tapu Lele just going to protect, just going to try to stall it out here, but it looks like Conan has all the pieces to seal the deal here. Garchomp double protects right there as Tapu Koko goes for a Volt Switch into that protect, but it's not going to matter too much. It's pretty much over.
Yeah, probably Sky Drop here, and if he wants to, I don't know. I don't think it makes a difference.
Scott played this pretty well.
Yeah, he did.
But Conan just had that tech that he waited till the last game to show off.
We've seen that a couple times now, where it's just the last second, the last bit, like that Swords Dance earlier, and in the Fire Fang.
Yeah. But I don't think there's any way for Scott to try to steal this out.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, obviously not.
Yeah.
Because he could just Volt Switch again in a sec here, so it's over.
Yeah, Gigalith comes in. Even if you pick up double KO somehow, Tapu Koko just comes in, Volt Switches out.
Yeah.
So there you guys have it. Conan Thompson going to go ahead and move on to 5-0. Yeah. Scott Iwafuchi unfortunately drops to 4-1.
Yep.
But his play was absolutely.
It was good.
It was amazing. It was amazing to watch. But Conan just had that one little jab step.
Yeah.
Up on Scott.
I think if he doesn't have that autotomize, it's like another story.
Oh yeah.
You can't really account for that, and that's just maybe he did, maybe he knew about it and just kind of shrugged his shoulders and said maybe he won't do it. But wow, I don't know what else to say.
It's kind of like throwing it back when players try to double protect to stall out Trick Room, and then the other team just decides to, hey, I'm going to set up a substitute or set up.
Yeah.
This one was the reverse.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, I'm going to stall. Actually, no, it was the exact same. Scott's like, I'm going to stall my own Trick Room. And then Conan's like, I'm going to set up.
Yeah. This is like a little checkmate to him.
Yeah.
No, that was cool. I'm at a loss for words with that. I just kind of it spoke for itself.
Play of the game.
Play of the game.
Automatize.
I think play of the tournament so far.
Play of the tournament so
well,
far. You'd
on
say?
stream.
On stream. Obviously, there's other matches out there, and
I mean the Stoutland KOing the Driftbloom earlier was pretty good, but this one might take the cake because of how much it affected the game. This actually probably won Conan the entire set.
Oh yeah, and especially coming in that Game 3 situation too, right?
Yeah.
Coming into Game 3s, it's always very pressuring. You're always like trying to think about, I don't want to mess this up. Like I've already taken one game off my opponent. I'm so close to being able to win the whole round.
Yeah.
So
the question is what if I think Conan still wins the game because of the Tapu Koko, but what if he would have Tectonic Rage the last turn of Trick Room?
In terms of
into the Gigalith, because he had that last turn of Trick Room, he protected Gigalith, and that's when the Autotomize happened. And
oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Instead of protecting, right?
Yeah, because he didn't have much to lose. Basically, Celesteela had to either attack the Garchomp or do something else, and he could have attacked the Porygon just as well. So I feel like that would have been an opportunity for Scott to jump on Conan and delete the Gigalith, put himself in a position where there was no Gigalith in the back, and now you have an entirely different ballgame.
But you can't blame Scott either. I mean,
no,
your Garchomp's going to be most likely outspeeding all of Conan's team.
Yeah.
Barring that Tapu Koko, and then Conan just pulls it out of his back pocket like, hey, just kidding. I'm faster than you now.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, if you didn't expect it, you can't blame him. But it's one of those things. I think even without knowing that, it was something he could have potentially given a look at.
Yeah.
But hey, it's a hindsight 2020. What can you do?
That's good information for Scott to know if they do meet in the top cut.
Yeah.
So he's not out of it. I mean, he's still 4-1. Just a couple more rounds, a couple more wins, and he will be like, what is it? 3 more wins, and he'll be able to secure a spot in the top cut. Conan only needs 2 more to be able to secure his spot in the top cut.
Yeah, I mean, if you go 6-0, you have a pretty good chance of cutting anyway. There's like 3 or 4 4-2s that are going to make it.
No, you never know about resistance, though.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's still, he's a decent chance if he wins 1 more game. 2 more games seals it, so it's got to feel good if you're Conan.
Yeah. Well, that's it for round 5. We all need to kind of recollect we all kind of need to
take a deep breath.
And recollect, look back on our thoughts, and exactly process what just happened.
Yeah.
Guys, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. When we return, hopefully we'll have round 6 for you guys here at Portland, Oregon. Stay tuned.